But actually, it's y'all. So MAGA World is still demanding answers. They want to know. Take a look.
Somebody mentioned me the other night. They were like, Brandon, you on The View. And I'm like, I'm on The View. Quit playing.
This video is brought to you by SHINERGY Life, brought to you by SHINERGY Life. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're sick of being soft, if you're sick of your T levels being low, if you're tired of being a Democrat, won't you get you some TForce and become a man today, all right? So we had the original TForce, which is the regular TForce, and then we made it advanced. I suggest you take this with food and you take it before a workout to maximize. We give you a discount code for 25% off. Get you some TForce today. God bless you. God bless America. And let's get strong, baby.
But they messed around. I think we got it. They messed around and put me on their show. Somebody mentioned me the other night. They were like, Brandon, you on The View. And I'm like, I'm on The View. Quit playing. Roll the clip.
And the fallout of the Epstein files continues. There are rumors that FBI Director Dan Bongino is about to resign after a blow-up with Attorney General Bondi this weekend. And you know who really tried to rally the supporters on Truth Social, saying Bondi's doing a great job, and claiming that Obama and Hillary created the vials. That's his go-to. When he's not sure, he says it's them. But actually, it's y'all. So MAGA World is still demanding answers. They want to know. Take a look.
How many of you are satisfied with the results of the Epstein investigation? Clap.
How many of you guys think, by raising your hand, that the government is not telling us the full story about what happened with Epstein? All right, I'm in the right place at the right time.
It's obvious that this is a huge PR disaster for the Trump administration.
I just had to show that little part what I'm in it, all right? But let me say this. These people have a one-track mind. That's why they don't understand the dissent from conservatives. We are not in lockstep with foolery. If we see things that are not right, conservatives are wise enough to say, let me verify or let me check this or let me call this person out. They can't call out the foolery on their side, but we could call it out on our side if we see that it's prevalent to do so. But let me just address this point real quick because I think it's invaluable. We'll put Hakeem Jeffries' clip on here. This is what frustrated me about Trump's rollout of, and I say Trump because Pam Bondi answers to Trump. It ain't no way in the world, and it should not be anywhere in the world, that Pam Bondi is doing things that Trump is not aware of, especially something to this magnitude that focuses on the base, Donald Trump's base. He should be aware of this, and they should roll this thing out better. Quit. Like, this is why I'm mad at Pam Bondi a little bit, because you are a grown woman. How are you not intelligent enough to talk to Kesh Patel, Dan Bongino, and sit down in a room like adults and say, we're going to roll out probably one of the most controversial things in I would say the Trump administration's second term. Can we get on the same page? Can we just say, look, y'all, we're sorry that we don't have all the information, but this is what we're going to release, and here is why. It's not that hard, because when you don't do it right, what do you get? You get the left. And let's show you what the left is saying. Hakeem Jeffries coming out there with his, let me not say that. I'm trying to be a good Christian to be saved. Y'all know what I want to say about Hakeem Jeffries, but look at what they do. They didn't talk about Epstein one time in the 4 years that Joe Biden was in office. They didn't mention it. They didn't talk about it. They didn't release any files. They weren't transparent. They didn't talk about a list. They didn't even talk about Trump. But listen to what they're saying now to piggyback off this controversy. Roll the clip.
Discourse about Jeffrey Epstein. Is this appropriate for your members to be doing so? Do you want to see any action on that front?
The American people deserve to know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as it relates to this whole sordid Jeffrey Epstein matter. Democrats didn't put the Jeffrey Epstein thing into the public domain. This was a conspiracy that Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and these MAGA extremists have been fanning the flames of for the last several years. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. The American people deserve to know the truth. What, if anything, is the Trump administration and the Department of Justice hiding? What are you hiding? If you're not hiding anything, prove that to the American people. And if you are trying to hide something, as many of Donald Trump's MAGA supporters apparently believe, then the Congress should actually work hard to try to uncover the truth for the American people. There are only two things that are possible here. Option one, Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and the MAGA extremists intentionally lied to the American people for years about the Jeffrey Epstein situation. That's option one. Option two is that, in fact, there's reason for the American people to be concerned as it relates to what information has not been released that could be damaging to the Trump administration and the friends and family of the Trump administration and their billionaire corrupt supporters. And so they're actively engaging in a cover-up. Option one, they lied for years. Option two, they're engaging in a cover-up. At this point, it seems reasonable that can only be one of the two things. And so...
All right, I'm done listening to Hakeem Jeffries. Check this out. I would support Hakeem Jeffries' hypothesis if I saw him with the same energy when it came to Joe Biden's health. Now, let me find him getting on a podium talking about y'all either lied for 4 years about Joe Biden's health or y'all are acting in a cover-up. If Hakeem Jeffries with that vigor and zeal would come out and say the things about his own party that we know, then I would accept his outrage or his statements as fact and as genuine, but they're not. Now, what I will say is, because I'm not dumb and I wasn't born yesterday, I was probably born during the day, but not yesterday, is that I do have to acknowledge there is some truth to what he's saying as far as him piggybacking off of the sentiment that people may be feeling. And I think that that's why I was frustrated with the way Donald Trump and them rolled this out, because you're giving them fuel for the fire. It makes absolutely no sense to think that Donald Trump is trying to hide corruption, but I think that there could be a case where there are people on a list that they don't want to put out there. Let me give you a scenario. There could be people that flew on Epstein's jet that had nothing to do with Epstein Island or had nothing to do with Epstein as being his client or him and Ghislaine Maxwell's client. But when you put a list out there with people's names on it, other people who are conspiratorial are going to paint you with a broad brush and say that you're a pedophile. And maybe, just maybe, Donald Trump is trying to avoid putting people's name out there because they know people don't have enough common sense to do some real research, and they will paint everybody with a broad brush, and some people's careers and livelihood would be completely ruined because people would make up lies about them just because they happen to be on a jet that probably Epstein chartered the people who had money and who had fame so he can get on their good side. I don't think that there's much to this other than maybe the protection of getting this out there to people that's going to manipulate the situation. Now, I think they need to release the content because they shouldn't have been talking about it in the first place and being braggadocious about how they're going to expose people. Then they get in the office and do Nathan. So let's get on to what Laura Trump said. I put this out. I broke the news on it. I say I broke the news. I had a breaking news segment on it on my Instagram account about what Laura Trump said that Trump is going to do with the Epstein files. And I don't think Laura Trump would be unaware of what her father-in-law is going to do, especially if she goes to the public and says it. Roll the clip.
What would be your advice? Given this back and forth, we're just coming off of Turning Point here in Tampa. This was the topic of conversation. What would be your advice in order to take the temperature down on this issue from within the administration?
Well, I do think that there needs to be more transparency on this. And I think that will happen. I mean, look, I don't know what truly exists there, but I know that this is something that's important to the president as well. He does want transparency on all these fronts, that everything we're talking about, because it's frustrated him as well. He sat for 4 years like the rest of us did and saw lie after lie and saw our country just being sent down the wrong path. And it was really frightening and very upsetting to a lot of people to see. And I would actually say over the past 10 years, we've all kind of endured this. Prior to that, it was probably happening, Benny, but we just weren't as aware of it. It wasn't until Donald Trump came down that golden escalator that he just kind of blew the doors off of everything. And people started to wake up and realize, wait a minute, things are not as they have always been presented to us. And I do believe that you will see that. Now, as it relates to the president, I know that this is probably not his number one thing he's focused on. He's focused on a lot of other important things. We've got this big announcement with Russia going on, I think, as we're speaking right now at the White House. We have, a Middle East. We're trying to get peace over there. We're trying to make sure that Iran's nuclear arsenal is obviously completely decimated. We want to make sure everything is on the right track for this country. Fortunately, you've seen no border crossings in the last month. 0, by the way. I think that's incredible. No one's talking about that enough. 0 illegal border crossings in the month of June. Amazing how that's all gone. So I don't know that this was top of mind for him, but he hears all the noise and he hears all of the consternation out there. And I think he's going to want to set things right as well. So I believe that there will probably be more coming on this. And I believe anything that they are able to release that doesn't, damage any witnesses or anyone underage or anything like that, I believe they'll probably try to get out sooner rather than later because they hear it and they understand it.
All right, let me speak on this. And this is why, potentially, why all of you guys follow me. Because I believe I have been right about a lot of these things because I take the position to take a deep breath and say, let me not be accusatory of things that I don't fully understand and am aware of. I said a long time ago, and if Trump comes out and he brings out some new information, I've said a long time ago that we should kind of slow down a little bit because we don't know what we don't know. And they know what we don't know, but we don't know what we don't know. And we're going off on a limb, listening to people that literally want to go viral for a living and make money off of controversy and conspiracies. And they may have hyped this up way more than what it really is. There could be some there, right? I think it's some there, but I don't know. I haven't seen no files. I wasn't a part of the investigation, and neither was anybody that's watching this. Now, some people do have birdies that come and tell them certain stuff, but sometimes these people are not telling the truth anyway. They'll say things to go viral. I want you guys to understand that some people, and there's a temptation for me to do it, but I know how to resist the devil. There is a temptation to say, if I say this, even though I know it's not true, but it's kind of true, it'll be a headline and I will go viral and I'm now trending on X. But I have enough wherewithal to say, I don't care about going viral. I care about being honest and right and telling the truth about things that I can verify and that I know. And I think I've been 99.9% right on that. There's a couple things that I may have missed here and there because I'm not perfect. But I think that I said from the beginning, slow down. We don't know what we don't know. And I wrote this on my Substack. So if you ever got to go back and verify and say, Brandon didn't talk. Yeah, I did. It's timestamped. I said, we need to slow down. I spoke about Dan Bongino. I said, reputational damage is at the forefront of what Dan Bongino is feeling right now. I think that we remember these people to be great and honorable. Let's slow down and let the facts come out and see where we stand instead of jumping down their throats. And I think I was correct. One more video on this topic is the video of Alan Dershowitz. And I couldn't think of his name earlier for some reason. And he has made claims before that he was accused in a lawsuit. Therefore, he was privy to information and discovery. And therefore, he's now saying, and this is why people were so upset with Trump, but he's now saying that it's not even Trump's fault that any of this happened. It's more of judges' fault. So not the Trump administration, but certain judges that want to get this information out. Do I agree with Alan Dershowitz? No, I don't think I even agree with him on this one. But at least this is a different perspective that you can hear and draw your own conclusion. Roll the clip real quick.
Is the government hiding a client list or anything that the Trump administration could release tonight?
No, there is no client list and never has been a client list. A client list suggests that Jeffrey Epstein made a list of people to whom he trafficked women. What there is a redacted FBI affidavit from accusers. There are several of them. From accusers that accuse Jeffrey, that accuse various people of having improper sex. And that has been redacted. The names of the people accused have been blacked out. Now, of course, because I was the lawyer and I did only investigations, I know who all these people are. I could figure out, based on everything that I saw, who Mr. X is, Mr. Y is, and Mr. Z. I can tell you right now, none of them are public figures who are currently in office. Some of them were previously in office. Some of them are dead. But there is no client list. And the redactions could be undone if you go to court. So many of the things that are being suppressed by two judges in Manhattan. And they're doing it largely to protect the alleged accusers, who are, in the view of the judges, victims, even though we don't know what their actual status is. But the judges have issued orders, which is why I can't disclose things I'd love to disclose, saying that you can't disclose this information. But Pam Bondi and the Justice Department and Donald Trump are not responsible for that. I don't know of any information that they could disclose that they haven't disclosed. Now, maybe there is some, but I'm simply not aware of it. And so I think it's important to place the blame where the blame deserves to be placed.
Now, let me say this. I agree with most of what he said, but not the part about the judges and not the part about there's nothing to be released. If there's nothing more to be released, like, think about this real quick, and I got to get to other stories. If Dershowitz, if the government had said what he said, I don't think people would be mad. That's why I don't know if he's 100% accurate about what he's saying. Because if Pam Bondi would have came out and said exactly what he said, I think people would have been like, oh, okay, all right, we get it. Okay, I see where it's going. We're willing to be patient. They didn't do that. They came out and shamed us for even daring to have a conversation about this. And Trump is like, I can't believe we're talking about this. So, you know, in part, that's why I want us to slow down with the nuance, because maybe there's not a list, but maybe the list is not what people are looking for. They're looking for the names. Technically, it's not a list, but it's still names of people. But also, like I said before, maybe the names of people that are being accused of false accusations that haven't been proven in the court of law, but yet when people get the list, they're going to shame these people no matter what.